Hi, everybody. Thankful to have you here this Thursday, publication day of the Sagersville Independent. Grand jury indictments, as I reported on briefly here in the program, but some more detail in the paper. Also, as I spoke of a few times, Heather's been working on a report on the vehicle values and the taxes. Values of vehicles potentially going up by as much as 40%. Not all vehicles, and bills not seeing an increase of 40%. But she has spoken to our PVA, Becky Allen, State Representative John Blanton, our Judge Executive. It's a really good report, gives some really good information. Representative Blanton saying that the first thing that he was asking was to go back to last year's numbers, for example. Kentucky law dictates very specifically, however, he says that, as we've read, that these assessments must be made on current fair market value as assessed by the NADA organization. So the legislators, as I have told you, and as she will and you will read, are trying to find a workaround to not have any increases on your vehicle tax bills and refunds possibly for those who may have tagged your vehicle during the month of January. She goes through it as I did, compares a couple of different vehicles that did see an increase of value, and anywhere from a $3 jump to a $200 jump, depending on those vehicles. It's a good read and a lot of good information in that report. And, of course, a lot of other things, a lot of great sports stories. And I can't help but make mention of the back page and our Throwback Thursday page, sponsored by Grover Arnett, attorney at law there over the way. The edition of this week, I believe it was, in January of 1966. They just had a 9-inch snow still on the ground. They were in the process of tearing down the old Phoenix Hotel here in downtown Sagersville. There's some 4-H club winners in there from 1966 and more. So that indeed worth the price of the entire paper and much, much more. But all of that, if you haven't got an edition already, be sure to pick one up. And, of course, some cute snow pictures, the likes of which we may see again in next week's edition. So, weather-wise, there is a very, very significant winter storm that is going to hit and affect tens of millions of Americans across central, southern United States and into the Appalachians. Ice, wind, rain over the next few days from the Dakotas down to Georgia, all the way up to Maine, the Appalachians. We will see some. The first area to see will be the upper Midwest. This is on Friday. There will be ice warnings in place for a lot of Americans, maybe as much as a half an inch of ice or more in parts of North and South Carolina and Virginia. That is certainly possible, but indeed not a sure thing. There are forecasts calling for as much as 18 inches of snow in parts of the Appalachians, but that is still yet to be determined. Light showers will be out and ahead of a run-of-the-mill front, blah, blah, blah. That's our first thing. We're going to see those tonight. The first of a couple of lows to the west will equal a few light flakes on Saturday, and it's still all depending on the track of another low. This system is by no means anywhere in any form or fashion as clear-cut as the one last week, and there's just no one, no computer, no entity on this earth that knows exactly what we will see. We are in the most significant area, the area for most significant chances of snowfall. And yeah, models are still bouncing all over the place, and no one is really putting any numbers to this, rightfully so, at this hour. The heaviest of snow that, if we see any, will be Sunday and into your Sunday night. And that's all I'm going to tell you for now, but an updated forecast is forthcoming in just a few moments. A man is facing charges after a serious drug and alcohol charges after a serious two-car crash on the Mountain Parkway in Magafa County earlier today. I've got COVID numbers. It would take a miracle at this point for Magafa County to not set a record with tomorrow's numbers added to the rest of this week's as far as a case count for any 1 week during the pandemic. I'll tell you what today's numbers were, state COVID numbers, and of course much, much more. Real quickly, the governor's update today, Team Kentucky update that contains several different items. We'll talk about those. One being House Bill 5, which has seen bipartisan support. The Kentucky Senate as well passing it on yesterday. This is $200 million in relief going to those counties in western Kentucky so damaged and devastated by the tornadoes, of course, just weeks ago. The governor is saying that $45 million of that $200 million will be in immediate aid to those areas hit.
But I'm here today to celebrate a bipartisan piece of legislation that we all know is just the first that's going to be needed to free up resources right now, not when the fiscal year starts, but right now to support these Western Kentucky families. It includes two parts. The first is prioritizing our kids. It's providing the impacted school systems with $30 million of additional funding to provide wraparound services. Many of these kids right now are homeless, having their home wiped out, having lost all of their possessions, and having gone through a level of trauma that most of us would have a hard time comprehending or understanding. It's going to provide wraparound services where our schools can literally put their arms around these kids and meet their needs in the coming days and months and, yes, years.
Again, the other $15 million of that initial $45 million will go to provide temporary housing assistance, mobile trailers, and the like to get people a temporary structure and place to stay closer to their home or their home area. Another $155 million will be placed into the newly created West Kentucky State Aid Funding for Emergencies Fund. That will be distributed by the Division of Emergency Management. Also in his address today, the governor discussed his final budget priorities, which includes endorsing a 6% pay increase for all state employees. That will include our Kentucky State Police, sworn officers, and telecommunicators as well. The governor himself had proposed a 5% pay increase, he noted, with it to take effect for everyone on the 1st of May, while the House had proposed 6%, but to be stair-stepped and staggered, with the governor saying he would go the 6% as they had suggested, but that he was opting for it to be effective for everyone beginning May the 1st, 6% across the board. He says his budget also added 350 social workers positions to help address staffing shortages and then cut the average caseload by nearly 25%, recognizing that they will not be able to hire all 350 in the first year alone, but they had to start somewhere and set a very high bar. The governor also, as he did last year, or as was done last year, will be returning 100% of coal severance funds to coal counties and created a $100 million disaster relief recovery fund as well. Turning to state COVID numbers, with local ones coming in just a few moments. Well, our new case count did not break a record today in regards to beating yesterday's over 11,000 cases, but still 9,267 cases in the last 24 hours. The death toll has gone up from this time yesterday to 29. The positivity rate at 27.79% across the state of Kentucky. Local COVID numbers in a few moments, that 2-car crash on the Mountain Parkway, and a whole lot more to come. I'll be right back. Whether the new year brings you new dreams or you're working towards the same ones, let Salyersville National Bank help you build, bank, or save for them. Salyersville National has been helping dreams come true since 1902. Give them a call at the main location, 349-3131, or the branch, 6121. Just like Christmas, it only happens one time of the year. And it's here, the annual half-off Christmas sale at the seasonal shop. That's right, everything in the store Christmas is half off, and everything clearance is marked down 70%. That's right, it only comes one time of year after Santa has come and gone. The annual half-off Christmas sale for a very limited time at the seasonal shop in downtown Salyersville. Call the pros. All Pro Gutter Works specializes in seamless gutters, vinyl siding, metal roofing, replacement doors and windows, remodeling or adding on to your home with free and fair estimates backed by decades of happy and return customers with guaranteed satisfaction and 18 months 0% financing. All Pro Gutter Works, 349-9999.
Appalachian Wireless has a plan to make your life simpler. Forward pay. No contract, no credit check, no problem. Plans start at just $19.99 a month and include unlimited talk and text. Add 3 gigabyte of data for only $29.99 a month. 6 gigabyte of data, $39.99. Or take it to the max with unlimited data plus, only $89.99, which has 50 gigabytes of high-speed data. All the features without the long-term commitment. It's forward pay because we are you. We are Appalachian Wireless.
Before local numbers, the U.S. Supreme Court today handed down 2 closely watched and much anticipated rulings that will at least temporarily block the Biden administration's vaccine mandates for large employers, but allow another rule applying only to those in the healthcare field to stand pat. In a 6-3 decision, the court voted to block the mandate, which would have been issued by the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, OSHA. As for healthcare facilities, that vote was closer. It was 5-4, and it was to uphold the current mandate, if you will, for COVID testing. OSHA would have imposed penalties to U.S. employers who have 100 or more people working for them to ensure that all of those employees were vaccinated, except for those who qualified for exemption or tested for the virus each week. That has been denied. However, for the healthcare mandate, that involves facilities that receive Medicare or Medicaid funds requiring them to maintain a fully vaccinated workforce. The rule for the healthcare workers affects some 17 to 18 million workers and is administered by the Health and Human Services Centers for Medicare and Medicaid, and it will stand as is. Local COVID numbers, as I said at the beginning of the program, indicate that indeed it would take a miracle or something of extreme chance for McGoffin County to not set a record for the highest case count in a week's time by this time tomorrow. Top left of your screen, we totaled 29 cases over the course of the weekend, 41 on Monday, I believe. If that is not the highest, one of the highest single days since the pandemic began. Tuesday of this week, we had 29 cases, equaling the weekend. Wednesday, yesterday, we had 23. Today, another 33 cases reported here in McGoffin County. That all totals up to 155 cases with 6 days of reporting. That leaves tomorrow, and if you just take an average from every day this week, that will be a record-setting week, I believe, or very near for McGoffin County. We're checking with the McGoffin County Health Department to find out one way or the other. It's going to be over 155 cases, which we have already at this hour. Our active cases, bottom left, has gone up from yesterday. We had 112, today 118. And keep in mind, last week we had a total of 87 cases, and we're at 155 thus far. So we're likely to double the case count for last week. The number of hospitalized has gone down by 1, but I beg you to remember that that's not always a good thing. We're down to 6 people hospitalized, 1 person from McGoffin County on a ventilator. That number down from 8 hospitalized and 1 on a vent just earlier this week. As for the map, well, that too has changed, and McGoffin County has seen an increase. We'd fell just about 10 points yesterday to 114. That was very short-lived. We're back up to 130.4 for McGoffin County. Indicative, of course, of the numbers that I just spoke of. Johnson County at 61.2. That a bit of a fall from yesterday. And again, for the second or third day in a row, 0 counties in any other shade but red. Floyd County at 113.2. A lot of other Kentucky counties, as you see, well over that 100 mark. Simpson County at 222. You've got Boone at 220, and Kenton and Pendleton in the 190s, and 253 for Oldham and Jefferson County. And back to McGoffin County numbers real quickly. I just got off the phone with McGoffin County Schools Director of Pupil Personnel, Justin Bailey. He says that school district-wide here in McGoffin County, they've had 30 cases in the last 7 days. That is students and staff, and it's almost evenly spread, about 15 and 15, but 30 cases in the past 7 days. By comparison, that is not among the very highest weeks that we have seen. It's also certainly not among the lowest either. A man is facing drug and alcohol charges in a serious two-car crash earlier today on the Mountain Parkway. I've got that in a few moments. Right now, I've got what few things I have on tonight's community calendar. It's kind of normal this time of year, and with the pandemic, that not much happening or gearing up yet in the new year on the community calendar. But of course, it's here at Nightly and always brought to you by your local Farm Bureau agent, Doug Green. Well, technically, it's not even a few things. Thought I had a birthday. That is not for today's date. So, the only thing I have is a quick reminder. P.O. Box 1443 if you want to mail something in. 3699 if you want to phone it in. YourNewsToday@yahoo.com if you want to email it. I'm on Facebook at Ritter Mortimer on my personal account. That's the best way to get it to me. And remember, birthdays and birth announcements and anniversaries should be sent to Heather at SagersvilleIndependent.com to go in the Independent. And, of course, as well there for free. Nightly obituaries are brought to you by our friends at the McGoffin County Funeral Home, and they tell me tonight of services which have been set for Sis Conley. That's Leatha Sis Tackett Conley, 85 of Lick Creek, who passed away yesterday at Highlands ARH. Born to the late Lonnie and Stella Cantrell Tackett, Sis is survived by her husband, Cecil Sheep Conley, her sons Gary and Doug, daughters Sandy Rudd, Pamela Howard, Kathy Line, Phyllis Green, brother Walter D. Tackett, 15 grandchildren, and 22 great-grandchildren. In addition to her parents, Sis is preceded in death by her son, Randall Conley, and 9 brothers. Services will be Saturday morning beginning at 11 from the McGoffin County Funeral Home. Visitation will be Friday evening from 6 until 9, and the family says that in lieu of flowers, donations can be made to the St. Jude Children's Hospital and Shriners Hospital or the Wounded Warriors Project in her honor and memory.
SSI and disability cases are harder to win these days. You need all the help you can get. If the government has turned you down, I will not. Many factors are considered when a claim is being processed, like your age, education, physical, and mental disabling conditions. When it comes time to winning your disability case, you should not face a federal judge alone. You need an attorney who is experienced, determined, hardworking, knowledgeable, and dedicated to helping you win benefits that you deserve. If you need help with your SSI or disability case, call me, Donald Wayne McFarland, and let me go to work for you.
Not everything has changed over the years. Fraser's Prater Drug Store is still your most trusted pharmacy, where you can get your prescription brought to you curbside or make your way to the counter for a snack, lunch, or an incredibly sweet treat. And check out Strings and Things inside the shack, the Radio Shack, musical instruments, guns, ammo, electronics, and more. It's as wonderfully unique of a shopping experience as is the selection at Fraser's Prater Drug Store in downtown Sayersville. Parkway Pharmacy, as always, promises the quickest service with the very best care and prices, and to always have someone there to talk to when you have a question. With 3 pharmacists, curbside, drive-through, and call-ahead service. Parkway Pharmacy in Sayersville, 349-4400.
Where you can always talk to a pharmacist when you need one.
Do you really want to get caught in this again on those tires? Get there in one piece and save. Conley Tires got specials going on right now through the end of March, like $100, even $200 back on a set of Goodyears. And get those tires, brakes, service, whatever you need, with 6 months no-interest financing. Conley Tire in Staffordsville or conleytire.net. A mother told EMS and law enforcement earlier today that she was nearly struck head-on the Mountain Parkway by an oncoming vehicle. And then in her rear view mirror, she watched that same vehicle strike the vehicle driven by her daughter directly behind her. The daughter being airlifted from the scene, the driver of the other vehicle facing drug and alcohol charges. The man facing those charges, driving an SUV, he was from the Lexington area and in his vehicle alone. McGoffin County Sheriff's Department is investigating. Deputy Jonathan Holbrook confirming to me on scene while I was there that there were items of alcohol and drugs found in the vehicle and that toxicology tests are pending as the investigation is ongoing, but that charges of some sort at this time were pending the investigation and accident. The vehicle, as I said, in question crossed over the center line and struck a white passenger car. The female, the daughter, behind the wheel of that car was seriously injured. to the point that a medical helicopter was called and landed on the unfinished portion parallel to the mountain parkway. She was from there airlifted to a trauma center. The male driver of the other vehicle in question was also injured, suffering possible internal injuries, and was taken by ground ambulance to another hospital. Again, the mountain parkway was shut down for approximately 2 hours or a bit less, while the scene was tended to by EMS personnel, as were the vehicle occupants, and the debris was removed. The accident, again, under investigation by the Magoffin County Sheriff's Department. The woman in the vehicle also was said to have been from Steele, Kentucky. Now, I am off in just a few moments to catch Hornet highlights. We'll have those for you tomorrow. Johnson Central coming to the home of the Hornets tonight. As for now, let's take just a moment or two and talk about everything that we don't know about your weather forecast. Nothing new there. Local Doppler radar to the left here, showing just some light, very light showers. Some not even hitting the ground that have rolled through the viewing area, and a few more to come. Just really not much coming out of what's ahead of a run-of-the-mill front, as I said earlier. Now, the software that I am using to generate this, that I use here nightly, and then, of course, consulting with the National Weather Service, but my software is showing right now a prediction of about 3 to 5 inches of snow on your Sunday, and that's probably a fair estimate at this time, but no particular one model is really pinning anything down at this hour. This time tomorrow, we will certainly have a better handle, and even then, not a sure thing. This system, or this scenario of lows and other factors, just really unpredictable. Nothing like what we saw a week ago. So with that said, 48 degrees is what we are expected. Well, 48 was our high. 33 is what we are expecting to see for our low tonight. My apologies for the typo there to the left of the graphic. But a slight chance of rain, maybe mixing with a few flakes during the overnight, then gradually ending, otherwise just mostly cloudy. And again, 33 degrees. Setting us up for tomorrow, 39 for your high, 24 for your low, dry, mostly cloudy, more clouds than not, very little sun, and close to 40 degrees, not all that bad. For your Saturday, again, it's not the first half of the weekend that we expect to see any snow, if we do see some heavy snow, but a 30% chance of some showers in the form of white flakes, that is, after 3 o'clock on your Saturday. We'll top out just a tick above the freezing mark, again at 33, and we'll drop down to well below freezing at 23 Saturday night. Still, just a consistent 30% chance of some snow throughout Saturday and Saturday night and the overnight. If we see that snow, and there's a very good chance we will, the bulk of it, the majority of it, will be on Sunday. Snow likely right now, I think the window around noon or 1, and maybe even a mix back and forth, as we'll see around 35 degrees for daytime highs on your Sunday. So that will certainly put us in a bit of a changeover and a back and forth there at some time. Temperatures are going to fall throughout Sunday evening down to 25. There should be some more gas in this tank, so to speak, and more moisture in the air, and that could all add up to few inches of accumulating snow. Again, 3 to 5 is a good estimate at this hour. Monday, we'll see the low 40s, mostly cloud, low 30s, low 30s, 33, 34 degrees, mostly cloudy, a lingering 20% chance of snow, and then we're off to the 40s. 40 Tuesday, partly sunny and dry, 45 on your Wednesday, partly sunny, mid-40s again roughly on your Thursday, and even though we'll see some sunshine, we'll see a 20 to 30% chance of rain around this time next week. More on what could be a big winter hit in 24 hours. And that's it. Again, if you haven't got today's edition of the Sagersville Independent, the story on tax rates, the Throwback Thursday page, and, of course, everything in between makes it, as is always the case. We're working very hard to make sure that's always the case. The very reasons that you need to get a copy if you haven't already. And to find out what's happening between now and tomorrow, you need to be back here around this time when I'll wrap up this week of programming on Your News Today tomorrow night. Thank you for watching, and enjoy the rest of your Thursday evening.